So this is another driving safely in my car because I'm so grateful that I get to currently have a job that pays my bills and affords my lifestyle. The lifestyle that I'm growing out of that was based in lack and limitation and needing to strive for my value to be met. That aside, the video is not about that. This video is actually about numerology and how it's so fascinating and how I was just like feel thinking and like see feeling and knowing. I want to say wave finding. How awesome is that? I was just wave finding. I was finding myself through the quantum waves and layers of understanding by taking down or basically dissecting the numerology that was my odometer reading when I got in the car. Because everything in life is a conversation with the universe, God, all that is, the creator, I am, whatever you want to call it, consciousness. It is. It is because I am. And that's what the numerology led me to. Because if you feel into any question long enough and you actually listen and you actually feel for and you actually intuit the answer through your own specific developed felt into relationship, communication with, language that you speak with the divine, it's correct, and it'll always affirm to you the truth, which I won't be dogmatic about it, because ultimately my truth led me back to the number 5, which is the Hierophant card, which is also a V in Roman numerals, which is V for Vendetta, which is the story of my heart. Like, it is the story of my soul, honestly and legitimately in all of the ways. And so the Hierophant warns of religion as possibly, potentially, like a trap and abuse, like if it's dogmatic. Religion ought to be, because it feels, in my experience, the best when it is your own way of like developing communication with the divine. That's what spirituality is. Spirituality is dancing, speaking, loving, having relationship, harmonizing and participating in relationship with the divine. And how in the world can someone else that's not you, the very individual specific spark of a soul that you are incarnate in this very specific body, in this specific location that you were born in and lived in, with your storylines that'll never ever be repeated in any other timeline ever, how is anybody else about to tell you that they know definitely the best ways and they know you more than you know you? What? They can certainly have a meaningful outside perspective, which when added to your own, filtered through your discernment and intuition, could really help you a lot. But I digress. The whole point was numerology and any other system, astrology, because I was thinking through numerology and then the archetypes as they're represented in tarot, and how this all pertains to my life and what I'm moving through right now and all these things, and it basically having a conversation with the universe, God, all that is, I am, through my means, makes me feel so good and comforted, and helps me shift perspective from, you know, whatever like human three-dimensional reality thing I was focused on at the moment that was maybe making me feel less than stellar. When I ask a question with the intention of like, let me see how I'm being helped. Not, why is this wrong? It's like, please show me what I'm not seeing, because I know that all of this is for the growth and the change and the expansion and the ability to have an outcome that's not already happened yet. Like, if you end up watching this video, you are on a frequency, a resonance, a wavelength that is wanting for change, wanting for a different experience than what's been had, and we don't need to waste time or spend any time in the momentum of like looking at what the problem is, because we're all well aware right now of what the problems are, multiple, but singularly it is that there are people that tell others how life ought to be lived and what the right and wrong things are. And that's not a blanket statement that can be made for humanity. Like, are there things that most of us would agree on in integrity level are like good and bad? Yes, of course. But in the eyes of like consciousness and non-judgment and divine human experience as a sacred thing that it just is, there's no judgment of that. And so it doesn't help to spend the time focused in that direction. And again, the fact that I've developed over time now my beautiful relationship with something that I can't even have a relationship with because it is me, just it's outside of me, because I feel like I'm a human and I'm separate from other things, because I have this very convincing physical body and physical reality, which are real because I love experiencing them, but ultimately also I'm not separate. And I love myself. So I know that the self that's outside of myself loves me too. And when I can spend long enough answering my own question, listening for my own communication back through this beautiful experience that we get to have in the universe, in the world as humans, I am reminded that, like, sweetheart, you're so loved. And all of this is for the fulfillment of your heart's desire. And this is not a message that would have made any sort of sense to me like 7, 8, 9 years ago at all. And even a few years ago, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds good, but what do you mean? What are you talking about? Like, show me the steps and how to do it. How can I manipulate reality to do that? And like, that's not what I'm talking about anymore. And it's so excellent that I love myself for what I haven't known, because it led me through the exact right steps that I needed for me, that probably won't be the exact right steps for you, but the general concept of the seeking and the finding within and all that stuff is all translatable, but we have such vast and different ways of talking about it, of experiencing it, of doing it. And man, I just needed to share. I just needed to share all of that. So wow. If you haven't developed your own language with the universe yet, and you're curious to see like how parts of your life would be viewed through a divine language like astrology or tarot, that's what I do. I do those readings, and I would love to look at your soul's blueprint and speak to you in a language that is understandable and relatable, because that's what I aim to do in my readings. I want you to get what you're meant to get out of it. It's not for me, although I do always learn something about myself in every reading I do, because I'm a mirror just like everyone else is. And so when you are being reflected by me, I learn something about me in the reading. So thank you so much for letting me learn from you. But that's what I do. I help you interpret a language, and in the hopes that maybe you can pick up your own language. Maybe it's the same ones that I use, or maybe it's a different one. But once you understand that you can like have a conversation with the divine, and you can learn how to understand, interpret, and then direct your own story in life, it's like the most empowering thing that you can do for yourself. No one can give you that. But someone can help you find the key that you hold within yourself. That's not to be understated. That's what we're meant to do for each other. We're not meant to heal or fix or orchestrate or lead or whatever each other in any other way other than like, hey, do you, this is what I did. Maybe this would work for you. Or this is what I see that maybe you're missing. Or this is, you know, if it's wanted, it's here. If it's not, I'm not going to force it on you. That's like good human relationship basics 101. Thank you for watching this rambling channel from my heart. I love you. Take care.